Mrs. Mrs. Click, 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 click. If you are new here, welcome. If you are not, welcome back. Hugs, bougie kiss, mwah, bougie kiss, mwah. Okay. I want to start this off by saying this form of content is very new to my channel. So if you are watching this content, chances are you are a fan of the Braxtons. You have been keeping up with the current series. And I am just now getting my feet wet into the world of commentary, into the world of reviews, reality TV commentary, all of that jazz. So I would like to take this moment to go ahead and say, if you are not subscribed, get subscribed, because this will not be the last time that I will be talking about this series and or other series, some of which will just so happen to be our favorites. Real Housewives of Atlanta, that's coming up real soon. I cannot wait to get into the steak and potatoes of that. But anyway, y'all, hi, I'm Tiff. Thank you so much for being here. I really cannot wait to sink my teeth into this because I have a lot to say. I do want to start off by saying that, like most of us, I am not new to the world of the Braxtons at all, okay? I have been a devout Toni Braxton fan since the tender age of 7 years old. No exaggeration, 7 years old. That's when I first found my first Toni Braxton album, and I fell in love. I had it on my little Walkman, and she has literally been my favorite singer, one of my favorite vocalists of all time. Since my tender age of 7 years old, I always attribute me falling in love with music to Toni. Like, she really set that stage for me, and what a great talent she is. And so I have been watching this show for the last decade plus, because it's been like 10 years and some change, really. And to put it into perspective, this show came out when I was 13 or 14 years old. Braxton Family Values came out when I was 13, 14 years old. And right now, on this day in 2024, I am 27 years old. So these Braxton girls, they're not news to the bulk of us, okay? We have been here. We have seen the tumultuous times take place right before our eyes. And a lot of this is very interesting. Like, in a nutshell, it is quite interesting to see everything that is transpiring. I'm going to put a cap on that. Now, there's a lot that I have to say, and I'm not going to rush my way through this, but I'm going to try to keep this as brief as I can, because since this is my first review, I do have cliff notes on what I want to say as it pertains to episode 5 and episode 6, but I have been watching the series, this particular Braxton series, since the first episode, so I'm just going to make some general commentary, and then we're going to work our way through, because, oh my gosh, honey, when I say that this has just been too much of a time, okay? I want to start off by saying this. Traci Braxton was a great loss. Losing Traci Braxton was an immense loss, okay? Traci, way before her passing, I had been listening to Traci's music. And she has great music, by the way. If you have never listened to Traci's music, I highly recommend giving Traci's music a listen. I feel as though her music was very well produced. I feel as though it was very authentic to the woman that she was. It correlated very well with like her story, her life story. And I just resonated with it so much. Both of the albums went platinum in my household. So I just want to take a second to not only acknowledge the void that is very present within Traci's passing, but also give her her props and acknowledgement when it has come to her musical career. And I'm very glad that she was able to just at least embark in that before her passing, her untimely passing at that. Because I feel as though Traci underestimated herself a lot. And so for her to get to the point in her life where she could see herself transpiring into the version of herself that she always saw herself as, but never got to experience, was amazing. Her music is great. Both albums are great. Please give them a listen. They're amazing pieces and bodies of work, okay? So, y'all, oh my God. Okay. So I agree with a lot of people on here who have been coming to the forefront and have been saying that the overall vibe of this season, it gives disingenuous. I concur. I agree. Simply because of the fact, I'm gonna piggyback off of this. The fact that in the last episode 5, Towanda said, we've always fought for Traci, or she said, I've always fought for Traci. You know, I'm paraphrasing. I don't know exactly the exact verbiage she used, but I've always fought for Traci, and I'm going to fight for Traci until the day that I die, right? I do not doubt that all of these women did not love Traci. Okay. I truly and honestly, wholeheartedly believe that these women did love Traci through and through. And, you know, sisterhood, it has its ups and downs, it has its hills and it has its valleys. And I think that all of us as viewers pretty much are level headed enough to know that and acknowledge that. But at the same token, us as viewers are aware enough to have seen and been present enough throughout the last decade to be aware of the distinction between Traci and the other sisters. Okay. And I think that when Traci would consistently verbalize, like, I feel like a sister cousin, I feel like she put that in perfect words. She didn't mince words with that. I completely understood what she meant every time she used that specific phrase. I feel like a sister cousin, because as a viewer, from the time that I was young all the way up until my adulthood, I could sense the separation. I could sense that there was a distinction in the way that the other sisters were treated and Traci. It seemed like she was the underdog. It seemed like she was always the one that was left out to dry. And it was very hurtful. And I will say that it was very hurtful for me from a personal lived experience. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get into the bulk of that because that's an old version of me. That's an old story that I don't hold on to anymore. But my old version of self, who felt wounded, who felt unseen, who felt like I wasn't accounted for, really identified with Traci at her core. And I also want to make it a point to say this. This is just my personal opinion, by the way. I feel as though out of all the sisters, Traci was very good at she was good at just being her authentic self. Like, you did not get a lot of fluff and BS with Traci. Like, she was just so authentically her without trying, without effort. It was just who she was at her core. And I loved her for that. My personal favorite Braxton sisters outside of Toni, because like Toni. Toni Braxton is one of my favorite singers of all time. We established that. But it was between Traci and Trina, and in terms of just like authenticity and personality wise, who I connected with. But Traci was, I just clung to Traci because I felt like I saw her, and she was just so vibrant, you know, so vibrant and so happy and bubbly despite the circumstances that she was dealing with. You know, perseverance was in her bloodstream. I don't want to harp on that too much, but yes, I think that a lot of us as viewers, we were there to see this firsthand. And I know that Towanda was going on some tangent about how we don't know what goes on behind closed doors and we don't know the true essence of this family. And that's true. We only see 42 minutes of y'all's entire life. Okay. So we don't know y'all on a core level. It's a very parasocial relationship. And I think most people can understand and agree with that. However, us as viewers, we are just reflecting on the bulk of what we have seen throughout the last 10 years. And I feel as though not only me, but a lot of us would have been able to just respect them more had they come to this show and said, you know what? We have some regrets about how we treated our sister in the past. I feel like that would have just been so honorable. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if y'all would have just came to the forefront and said to us, you know what? Because, you know, the narrative that they're running with is that this is to honor Traci. Traci wanted them to do this show, yada, yada, blase, blase. Okay, fine. If that's the case, fine. Fine. It's not coming off that way, but fine. However, if y'all would have just stood before us and said, we really overlooked Traci in some instances and we have regrets and it hurts us and we care about her, blah, 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 that would have been more well received versus what you all are trying to currently do. Like, this rewriting of history, this revisionist history is just what's not cutting it for people. And I can see that this is why a lot of people are not feeling Towanda this season, especially because for her to just come to the forefront and just paint this completely different picture. We fought for Traci. I fought for Traci. I'm not letting go. That's my sister. I have no doubts that you love your sister, Towanda. I have no doubts that y'all all love Traci down to the floor for certain, right? But it is still, two truths can exist at once. Y'all can love her through and through and care about her and still acknowledge that there were some gaps, there were some lapses in how she was treated. And it is aware to us as an audience because of the fact that we sat there and saw Traci say it herself for so many seasons. We're not just making this up. This is not a narrative that is getting conjured out of thin air. She said it herself. Your sister, Traci, stood before us, America, Black America, okay, more specifically, and said, I feel like a sister cousin. I feel unseen and unaccounted for. I don't feel like I am the equivalent to my sisters. And it was evident to her and it was evident to us. So this whole revisionist history, this story of changing the narrative, it just comes off as exploitive. It comes off, it leaves a nasty taste in people's mouths because we are 6 episodes into this series and to this current variation of the Braxtons. And episode 6, which was just this Friday, right, is the first episode that wasn't centered around Traci's death, right? And we can look at Braxton family values and see how Traci was like begging and pleading to be seen and to be heard. And that is why a lot of us resonated with her and connected with her because we empathized with her. We saw her cries for help, not even cries for help, because Traci, I don't even think that Traci was a victim, and I don't think that Traci wants to be seen as or portrayed as a victim at all. Traci could absolutely stand on her own 2 feet and hold her own. We saw that when she held the show down when y'all left and y'all got mad at her for wanting to get her money, but this was one of her things that she was working on, kept in her back pocket for her coinage. Y'all wanted to get mad at her for that. Perfect example. But at any rate, I don't think that Traci was a victim by any means. I think that she just wanted to be seen as an equivalent to her sisters. That is not asking too much. Another thing I want to point out with Towanda, this is so strange. When she got mad at OG, the showrunner, and she said, well, you don't want me to tell the real truth. I guess she was, what was she referring to? Kevin Sr., right? The daddy, the husband. Oh, well, you don't want me to tell the real truth and the honest truth and the right gut truth. Anyone who threatens the truth, bye. Like, because it's like, tell the truth. Like, tell the truth and nothing but the truth. Like, that's what we're here for. That's what y'all are basically insinuating y'all were here to do. Y'all are here in lieu of Traci. Y'all are here to illuminate her story, illuminate her truth, right? So tell the truth and nothing but the truth. Now, yo, I know that there's so much going on with that drama as it pertains to the will and the specifics. Now, I've watched a few creators talk about the will, and that is public record. Like, if you pay the state a fee, you can get the public record of any will issued within any of these 50 states. All you got to do is pay. I'm not going to show that on here. However, based off of what I saw in the will, there was no direct insinuation that there was no memorial that was to be had. Okay. Because from what I understand, Kevin Sr. had a memorial. I watched the memorial on YouTube. And from what I saw, it was like a concert, a celebration, almost like a church service of sorts, very like high lifting, high spirits. He had some of her close companions there, people who worked alongside her there. But her urn was there. Like, from what I understand, Traci did not want her physical, tangible body to be viewed. She wanted to be immediately cremated, which is what happened. So, and I think she also specified that she did not want any services, particularly from her, I think it was like the Eastern Stars or something, and like her sorority, right? I didn't see anything that had to do with either sides of her family being able to hold a memorial or homegoing service for her. And so I'm not understanding where the disconnect is. And this is also why the viewers are confused. This is why we're very lost, because their story is that Kevin Sr. had a memorial and he profited off of it, and it wasn't something that Traci wanted. And Towanda's like, well, nobody is getting on this platform that doesn't respect Traci's wishes and blase blase. But from what I understand, y'all also had your own memorial too. And y'all had like a photographer there, and y'all were all dressed in your green and looking fabulous, and y'all had her pictures blown up. So I guess what I'm trying to understand and what the bulk of the viewers are trying to understand is what is the exact difference between either of those memorials and homegoings. Well, what made y'all's okay and palatable and acceptable, but not Kevin Sr.'s? And I don't really know anything about Kevin Sr. Like, he's not my favorite person because I found out he was doing Traci wrong, and scandalize, and infidelity, whatever. That's their story, that's their relationship. But he wasn't my favorite person just based off of that. So I'm not saying he's just like zero to hero, and I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. But like, this is a genuine question that I have, and a lot of other people have. Why is it that what he did as it pertains to Traci's homegoing and her celebration of life, why is it him getting villainized, but you all can do the same thing? I don't know. Towanda, do y'all have a different will? Like, is there a different will? Because from what we know, the little pieces of information that we know, that seemed to be okay within the realm of what Traci wanted and what she deemed is okay. Anyway, moving on. Tamar Braxton. Oh my God. Let me tell y'all something. I have my dynamic with Tamar ever since I was a young girl. She triggered me. I didn't like her behavior even as a child, a 13, 14-year-old girl. I knew that her behavior was inappropriate. I knew that her behavior was unnecessary. And I would kind of look at her, and I have these things that I call reverse inspirations. And Tamar was one of those reverse inspirations for me. Like, I would just look at her and I would just tell myself continually, I don't want to be like this woman, because I feel as though she lacks a sense of poise. Like, Tamar is very reactive. And from the time that I was young to now, where I'm like 2 door knocks away from 30, okay? Tamar, you have evolved, but on a very minuscule scale. From what I can see, as a viewer, and from what I can see as somebody who like watches you on social media, love her as an artist. She's a great vocalist. Love Tamar's music. Love her first 2 albums. Tamar's first album eats, y'all. Y'all be sleeping on Tamar's first album. Listen to that first album. And of course, Love and War. Love and War was just amazing. I would love to see her have something else that holds up to Love and War musically. Because like, that was just such an amazing album. So great artist, great singer, great vocalist. Love all of that about you. However, just the way that Tamar shows up and the way that Tamar portrays herself, I feel like you could have a different story, Tamar. I feel like she kind of gets in her own way. And my biggest thing with Tamar has always been her lack of self-awareness. That is a pet peeve of mine in general with people. I really do not like people who lack self-awareness. I feel as though Tamar lacks immense self-awareness. With that being said, I do feel as though Tamar was valid in her frustration and hurt with not being notified about Traci's illness. I do feel her on that, and I do empathize with her when it comes to that, because that is very much so like important beyond measure. And so even though, Traci probably had her reasonings for that. Do we know explicitly why? No. Trina brought up the point that her and Traci were still at odds, and then that was like a whole nother conversation and a whole nother misunderstanding and argument for no reason. Thank God it didn't like blow up out of control, because like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm tired of seeing that. Like, I've been rewatching the Braxton Family Values just for like old time's sake since this series came out, and I wanted to like really rewatch and catch up and pay attention from like an adult point of view, an adult perspective. And I just get so tired of seeing Tamar behave like a wild banshee. I get sick of it. It annoys me. I just want better for her. So at any rate, Trina brought up the fact that Tamar and Traci were a bit at odds. Tamar didn't understand what Traci or what Trina meant, which is like wild, because like, you know the things that have transpired between you and Traci. So just because something transpired between you all and you got over that hump doesn't necessarily mean that Traci was over that hump simultaneously with you. It doesn't mean that she was on that same accord with you. Yeah. So I don't know, like her acting clueless about that and getting like defensive and like up in arms and crazy, whatever. But I will validate her. I will validate her in feeling some type of way about not knowing about her sister making her way out of here, because I feel as though I would have said something, because that's just me. But Traci definitely had her own reasoning for that. Traci definitely was valid in her own reasoning for that. We don't know what the specifics of that were, but it happened like that for a reason. So I feel as though that is something that Tamar should probably sit on. That is something that Tamar should probably sit on and digest. And as Miss Evelyn would say, how about that? I do want to make these 2 points before I move on to just going into episode 6. So Kevin Sr., in spite of whatever transpired between him and Traci in their imperfect marriage, okay, he was still a valid part of Traci's life and story. He was still a valid part of that family. And so for Towanda to just take the initiative, because I think that they're all executive producers of the show, for her to just take initiative to just shut out his side of the story, it is sketchy. It is sketchy. Again, to us as people who have been watching you for millions and billions of years. Okay? It is weird to us for you to not even want to give this man a little bit of space to say his truth and his perspective. You get what I'm saying? It is just weird. It is just icky. It is just gooky. And that's all I'm going to say on that. I know that everybody's been getting on Towanda about the scratchy nickname. And I will say, I remember when Towanda said scratchy for the first time and everybody was getting on her about that. I remembered. I do remember her calling him scratchy several times, not that much, but several times in earlier seasons. So like y'all lay off her a little bit. She didn't say it all the time, but she definitely, it was there. It was there. Obviously, she didn't say it enough for her kids or her man or Vaughn or anyone around her to know what she was referencing. But anyway, girl. I just want to make this point. I want to make this point, and this kind of funnels into the exploitive nature of the show, right? When they were having Traci's heavenly birthday, her second heavenly birthday, and Towanda called up Scratchy Kevin Jr. and said, hey, I'm going to fly you in and it's going to be a surprise. That is what was odd to me. Because if he's Traci's son, and that's his mama, and y'all celebrating his mama's birthday, why would him coming to partake in the family festivities be a surprise? That was just weird to me. And that does kind of go to show, okay, y'all might not be as close with him as y'all are trying to paint it out to be, because of the fact that like him showing up was a surprise. It should have just been an invite. It should have just been, hey, we're celebrating Traci, we're celebrating mommy. Hello, show up. I digress. I had to point that out just because like I know that what a lot of people are saying is that they're trying to paint it out as though they're closer to Kevin Jr. And you know what? Sometimes things like that happen. Like sometimes there's a death in the family and you do grow closer with other family members because of that. But it is just weird from our perspective as viewers, as watchers, as consumers of this content, to see that dynamic not be as legitimate or as close as y'all are making it out to be, because there's no way that that young man should be getting invited to his own mom's birthday celebration as a surprise. Anyway, now episode 6, like I said, episode 6 was the first time since this show has premiered that we were not talking about Traci's death in totality. Okay? Because every single episode up until this point has been Traci. And what I'm trying to figure out is, why couldn't Traci get these flowers from y'all while she was still living and breathing? I just want to know. I would have loved to have seen. There have been a few times throughout the series, throughout the show, that like, yeah, y'all have come around Traci. Y'all have loved on Traci. I'm not saying that y'all just hate her. I'm not saying that y'all are stone cold and don't care about your sister. However, it's the harping on it. And of course, they're still early in the grieving process. They are still new to the grieving process. So it's gonna be a lot of emphasis on her. But from what I understood is like, okay, y'all were to tell her story, right? But also still tell your story as a family, like still have your own unique storylines, because that is what we want. Like, I want to see what you have going on. I want to see what you have going on, Trina. I want to see what's new with you, Towanda. Towanda ain't never showed us a damn thing about her life ever. I know maybe two things about Towanda. Towanda, you have a man that I think she finally got engaged to that man. Congratulations. It took him long enough. And you pursued an acting career at one point in time. But other than that, Towanda is definitely the bone collector out of her sisters. I don't want to make this video seem like I'm just crunching down on Towanda and I'm bullying her, because I'm not. And I'm not trying to, because really, primarily my beef is with Tamar, because I can't get over how Tamar treated Traci. When I watch these episodes back and I look at this and I reflect on it, I get very angry with how Tamar treated Traci. I think that it was like so unfair. I would actually genuinely love to see Tamar. I think that there was like a preview, like a little preview, one of these upcoming episodes. So that'll be interesting to see. Hopefully it's next week. I saw Tamar say to like a psychic medium, I guess, that she did have a lot of regrets. So it would be nice to see her get into the thick of that and take some ownership of that, because I remember when Tamar took Traci on tour and Traci didn't even have her own dressing room. And that bothered me so much. Like, Traci was getting freaking dressed in utility closets and in hallways and stuff. And it's just, I just felt like the things that she did to her sister, they were so unfair. Because Traci loved her. Traci loved all of them. And all she wanted from all of them was to be equally seen and equally loved. But it really does. Like, this is just me speaking transparently from my heart, from my soul, from my perspective. It hurts my soul to see how Tamar treated Traci. All of them, really. All of them. Because they all have had I think that Trina and Traci were like very close. I think that Trina and Traci's dynamic was so cute to me to watch. I feel like if I had to say, I think that Trina and Traci were like very, very close just from what I saw. But I get angry. I have anger with Tamar. Like, I'm not going to lie to y'all. I have anger with Tamar. Now, when Tamar was sitting down and having that conversation with Carlos King, and she made the statement that this show was important for the culture, I do not disagree with that. I do not disagree with that at all. I think that the Braxton sisters was very, very, very important to the Black culture, because they were like our version of the Kardashians. Like, if you really want to break it down, they were our version of the Kardashians, except they were palatable, digestible, and you could relate to them. Like, they were definitely a pivotal point in my teenage years, in my early womanhood. Like, I really loved them. And they were like a very important part of my household too. Like, my whole household, we would get together when the show would come on and we would watch. And it was so funny and it was so relatable. And I think that they portrayed what was missing in Black America as it pertains to just seeing the dynamic between Black families. And this isn't me like trying to come down on a hammer with them, because we already know in Black families, there's a lot of toxicity, and there's families out there that are worse than these ladies. I don't think that they are the worst people in the world. I think that their way and going about things and executing things needs to be rewired and rethought, because it's not looking cute for them. Like, this is just not a cute look for them right now, okay? Because what it looks like to us is that y'all are exploiting your sister's death for views. That's why you have Kevin Jr. here, because y'all need Kevin Jr. because he has the rights to his mother's likeness. But before this point, we were not seeing Kevin Jr. on the show without Traci initiating it, because she was excited to be a Duchess. Yay! I'm so glad that she like got to enjoy like being a grandmother, even though it was like for a short period of time and all that jazz. But at any rate, they were important to the culture. They were an important aspect and part of the culture. I'm not going to lie about that. She did not lie about that when she said that. I absolutely agree. And it's actually kind of strange to me that they've never won like an Emmy or anything like that. What's that about? We need to change that because they were very entertaining reality TV and like real. Like I feel like the Braxtons is one of those reality shows that like you could really look at. Well, the Braxton Family Values. You could look at it and see, okay, this is not scripted scene by scene. Maybe they did some extra shit up in there. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not a producer on there. Okay. However, I felt like it was primarily authentic. Okay. Also, Carlos King, I don't know why he get on my nerves. I don't know why he get on my nerves a little bit. He just feels so inauthentic to me. Like even when they were in the back and they were in the dressing room and they were kikiing, and he's like, ha 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 ha. I'm like, girl, I don't know. Like it's just not giving real to me. Whatever. That was not important, but it was just something I wanted to throw in there. Tamar. Tamar acknowledging herself as a friend to the show is funny to me because how you a friend to the show and it's a show about you and your family. Like it's not even this isn't like Real Housewives. Like there's not a Marlo here. Which the Marlo got a peach now, but babes, there's not a Claudia here. Like what do you mean? Stop. I feel like what she tried to say by that, what she was really trying to say in essence is I am not wholeheartedly committing to this because this is bad for my mental health. Me being on a reality TV is bad for my mental health. I feel like that was the gist of what she was saying. And if that's the case, Tamar, I'm glad you have come to that realization because it is bad for your health. Okay. And I know she got a lot of stuff going on. I'm not about to get into Tamar's mess with that man, honey. We all know Tamar is not the best at picking them. And she's going through a lot publicly right now with that performance that just went down. That I'm not gonna lie, I love Tamar. We all know she can sing, but that shit was funny. That shit was funny, girl. Do you feel it in your soul? Yeah. I don't know what happened that day. Just don't dance, Tamar. Tamar Esteem, don't dance. Love you down to the floor. You get on my damn nerves, still love you, but don't dance. Just don't dance. just give us an Adele. Give us an Adele and do like a little hand, do hand motions. You know what I mean? Like it's like I'm that kind of singer too. I'm not doing no dancing, baby. Park and bark. Park and bark. That's all we need from you. Okay. But okay. I just hope that Tamar gets better with the mental health thing, and maybe she just needs to not be on reality TV. That's fine. Okay. Sure. Thanks for showing up anyway. We'll see how far this goes. We'll see if we see a season 2 of this show. I doubt it. Anyway, my hope for Tamar, my genuine wholehearted hope for Tamar is that she can find true poise because she doesn't know when to speak and when not to speak. And this just pertains to the entirety of her. Like when it comes to social media and her relationships and all these things, I would love for Tamar to be able to find true poise. That is my prayer for her. Anyway, Toni Michelle Braxton, thank you for showing up. Toni always got somewhere to be and something to do. And you know what? I get it. Superstar sister. We love that. I love her. My queen. But it was nice to see your face, Toni. It was great to see your shining face. Please show up more. And amazing. I love that Denim is like embarking on his modeling career. Beautiful. Love that. It was just good to see Toni. Like it just felt like it finally felt like a full episode because Toni showed up and Toni was there and doing the Toni things. I wish that I could see her residency so badly. Love her so much. Also, I wanted to point this out as well. Miss E having that conversation with her friends. Hey, Miss Maybelline feel like an auntie. Miss Maybelline, I grew up with Miss Maybelline, child. Divorce court, baby. But anyway, I think that seeing all of those women of age have a conversation like that and just be honest and like really talking about sex, like not being vulgar, because once you get to a certain age, you know how to turn that class on. And I know that people have their thoughts about Miss E and, okay, fine. I'm not going to say anything on her because I don't know. I know that whole relationship with their father and everything, I know that that's strained. And I definitely feel like she was making them pick sides. Outside of that, I think that she's a classy lady. And I think that this conversation she had with her friends, it was just refreshing to see. It was honestly just refreshing to see a bunch of beautiful, stunning Black women of age at a table shamelessly talking about their wants and their needs and their desires, and in a classy way, in a very classy way. It was really refreshing. And it's, I think that so many of us focus so much on like, I don't want to get old, I don't want to age. All of those women were beautiful, and their conversation was a key, and their conversation style was beautiful and amazing. So I love that for them. I love that for Miss E. It was nice seeing them. It was nice seeing that, and I just felt like it was important. I also just want to throw this in there because I'm silly, but Miss E, I mean Towanda, you look good bald headed. You look good bald headed. Now I'm not about to be petty. I'm not about to be petty. Towanda, you look good bald headed. And it's some controversy. This is why I can't. This is the thing about the Braxtons, y'all. Like y'all are too multi-layered in the ways that y'all don't need to be. Because now it's this whole conversation about, did Towanda shave her hair because she has alopecia, or did she shave her hair in honor of Traci? And at first, I thought that it was because she said it was to honor Traci, right? But then other clips have come to the surface where even on the show, she said it was because she had alopecia, and then it was like, Traci was an afterthought, or was that just like a good thing to funnel it in and just make it make more sense? I don't know. Y'all are stressing me out. Yeah, this is what I'm talking. But this is what I'm talking about. This is what you get when you get the Braxton girls. This is what it is with the Braxton ladies. Towanda, can you tell us the truth? Like, it's okay if you just shaved your hair for the alopecia and you decided to keep it shaved for Traci. Just say that. If that is the truth, just say that. Just say that. Because, like, you're stressing me out over nothing, though. Like, you know what I mean? It's over nothing. Like, it don't have to be like this. That's the thing that drives me crazy. It don't even have to be this way, girl. Like, you making it a whole hullabaloo. It don't got to be a whole hullabaloo. And this is the last thing that I'm going to say. Trina, keep an eye on Vaughn. Keep an eye on Vaughn. That man scares me, okay? Especially because I don't know if y'all saw that video about how he said that he was kind of frustrated that her mourning of Gabe and of Traci were relatively similar, and that made him feel ways and angry. I don't like the way that Vaughn talks to Trina. I don't like the way that Vaughn talks to Trina at all, because I think that Trina is a sweetie pie. I think that I mostly resonate with her personality amongst all the sisters. I resonate with Trina the most, like, on a personal level. I feel like I most see myself in Trina. And Vaughn is creepy. Like, he is creepy. I watch their YouTube channel. I love watching them cook. And even in those videos, he annoys me. And when he sat before her sons and said, you should get a vasectomy, because if you want to get a woman pregnant, or if you don't want to get a woman pregnant, it's not up to you. It's not to her. It's up to her. And you need to get a vasectomy. Who are you? Who are you to fix your lips, to have this conversation with my children, and not even in my presence, on your own accord? Man, I know a lot of men are like this, but Vaughn is the type of man to blame every little fucking dumb, stupid thought he has on him being a man. And I don't got time, because that just means no accountability ever gets taken. Like, he's never going to see the wrong in anything that he has to do or say. If Trina brings anything that he has done wrong to the forefront, it's like her feelings are going to get dismissed, because I'm a man and this is how men think and this is what men say and all this other dumb stuff. Like, please, he scares me a little bit. I don't really like how he talks to her. When they were having like the full conversation on their YouTube channel about the grief, I was like, girl, run. So I feel weird about Vaughn. I feel ways about Vaughn. I don't like Vaughn, but I am hoping the best for them. I'm gonna end it right here, y'all. Make sure that y'all follow me on all of my social media, and make sure that you subscribe, because this is the first of many commentary videos from your girl to come. And until next time, you know that I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.